Deutsche Bank starts the week on a sour note, posting a surprise Q4 loss of more than 1.1 billion euros, and it's never too early to samba in Carnival City. But first, the EU's quarterly earnings season goes up a gear this week. Stoxx Europe 600 companies are seen missing consensus on both revenues and earnings. That's according to Starmine's Smart Estimates, which focuses on predictions by the most accurate analysts. So can the rally that's propelled stocks since the start of the new year be sustained? To answer that question, I'm joined now by Joe Rundle, Head of Trading at ETX Capital. Good morning to you, Joe.
Morning.
So what do you reckon? Will the trend last?
Well, I think we're probably going to see a bumpy couple of weeks. I think the earnings are not going to be good. Probably not as bad as suggested just before, but I do think we are going to see a number of misses, and we've already seen that today with Deutsche Bank. And the real question is here, is this recovery that we're seeing actually translating into earnings? I'm not so sure it is. So I do think we'll see a pullback in equities after a nice start to the year.
We've got news out on China this morning as well. The 7.7% growth for 2013. It's the slowest growth for 14 years. Is it as bad as it seems, do you think?
Well, I think it's certainly a concern, and that's kind of what caused a little pullback in equities at the beginning of the year. China's a sort of anomaly. It's such a powerhouse, and it's such a big ship to turn around. I'm not sure that the figures actually represent the true economy. There's so many shadow economies going on away from government controls because it's very difficult to get investment there with the rigid controls they've got. So I think the economy is probably not as bad as suggested, and China will continue to grow and drive the world economy forward. But any negative figures are always going to be bad for world markets.
And looking ahead to this year and all the reforms that China wants to implement, has to implement, what are the potential roadblocks in its way, do you think?
Well, trying to get the reforms across are incredibly difficult, and trying to get them in the manner that the Communist Party wants to control is really, really difficult. I think the other key is external issues. I expect to see an emergence of the European debt crisis further on. I think this is going to come in a different form. I think this is going to come in southern European states, maybe a political change saying we don't want to be part of the euro anymore, and almost calling Germans bluff. Mrs. Merkel really wants the southern European countries in there to carry on with a weak euro compared to what a Deutschmark would be, and it is trying to force austerity. And if it actually has its bluff called, I'm not sure it will have to bail out the southern European countries. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I expect that to blow up in Q1.
Could it mean then, do you think, a return for the debt crisis in 2014?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really, really is the key. I think you could see a Portugal or a Greece or maybe even a Cyprus saying, we don't want to be part of the euro anymore. We're going to step away. Germany is then going to say, but you have to. You're not going to have any debt. You won't be able to raise money. And then they're just going to say, actually, no, we are going to step away. And that's going to leave Germany with a question of, do they bail them out? Because the German banks hold so much of this periphery debt that the German banking system almost becomes bankrupt overnight if the government allows a walk away from one of these countries. So it's a really fine balance, and it's very positive in the current status quo for Germany, but whether and negative for the southern European states. So I think it's a really key question, and I think it might come to a head.
Great, thanks, Joe. That was Joe Rundle at ETX Capital. Deutsche Bank posted a surprise pre-tax loss of over 1.1 billion euros for the fourth quarter. Heavy costs for litigation and restructuring took their toll, and the bank is warning 2014 will be another year of challenge and reform. Chinese car maker Dongfeng is to take a 14% stake in France's Peugeot Citroën. Dongfeng and the French state will help Peugeot to raise 3 billion euros of extra capital. Peugeot says sales fell 4.9% in 2013. Now, in world news headlines, Syria's political opposition says it will withdraw from international peace talks this week unless UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon retracts an invitation to Iran. The US has also expressed reservations, saying Iran has failed to meet all the conditions for attending. The government in Thailand says it may impose a state of emergency after a weekend of violence in Bangkok. Protesters seen here marching on a government savings bank have been trying for more than 2 months now to bring down the government. If the government carries out its threat, it could mean curfews, detentions without trial, and media censorship. That's it for now. I'll leave you with our pick of the day as Rio gears up for its annual carnival celebration. One of the city's famed samba schools shakes things up a little as it rehearses its moves at the famous Sambadrome. I'm Ivor Bennett. This is Reuters.